All right, so this is a new client project that we're working on. So it's kind of a feel for the kitchen, right? This is a remodel. So we're gonna redo this back wall. Client wants to keep the windows, so we had to come up with a solution for that, especially with these windows being a little bit taller than this one. They want to remove the soffit or the drop up here, including the crown molding. We're gonna add some can lights here. They want to do a bigger sink, and like you can see, the trash can is right here. They want that tucked away nice and neat. They want more functional storage down here as well. And then if we go to, so this is that opposite wall. So initially they had like tall cabinets floor to this drop, and it just blocks all this natural light from these windows, especially this corner. And this room is really, really big, and getting more natural light definitely couldn't hurt, or wouldn't hurt rather, because you can see uh, that the room continues all the way down this way, and it's kind of a dark spot in this dining room area, so a little bit extra light wouldn't hurt. And then the opposite wall, on the opposite side of this island, so we have some storage here with some cookbooks. So we talked to them about, you know, how we talked about identity-driven design, right? And so they don't really use these cookbooks anymore. They just want to kind of feature the nicer ones for display. And so we talked about moving them under the island and kind of opening up this space and creating some flexibility for us. Also, this thing up here is not a beam. It is, and nothing structural. It's literally nailed to the ceiling. It's not sitting on any posts or anything. So that's going to be removed, and we're going to flatten that whole thing out. Yeah, so that's going to be really nice and make the transition nice and smooth into that other room. And then this is the other side of the island. So currently this is their spice drawer. And if you know, like the little when you go to the market, the spice packets, the little bags that you can buy, it's just full of those. It's really unorganized. So we're gonna put an internal spice rack system in there, in that drawer. And so we'll do the individually labeled bottles, and they'll all be on like a slanted shelf system going all the way back on that drawer. So it'll be nice and organized. And then this side is going to be cooking utensils, and then a big 48-inch cabinet underneath the cooktop, the new cooktop we're going to put in here, for pots and pans, right? So one thing that they did have too is they have this double oven, double oven double oven from Decor, and they also had a microwave that was built in. Well, I want to get rid of the third appliance, and so what we're going to do is we're going to do a speed oven, because that speed oven doubles as a second convection oven and as a microwave, so that way we can get the best of both worlds with only having two appliances, not three, and taking up a bunch of valuable space in this kitchen. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to show you. Nope, that's about it. Oh, and this, that's such a wild hinge to me. It's crazy how they used to do things back in the day. Anyways, so here's the concept that, and I forgot to mention, so through this door, there's a like a massive walk-in pantry, and I noticed that they had a second fridge with a wine display on top, just like a wine shelf, or wine bottle holder, just kind of sitting on top of the fridge. Nothing crazy. So we talked a little bit about wine, and they would really like to have a place, a unique place to store their wine. So we kept that in line. And let me see what other notes I took here. So they do have cats, so we needed storage for cat food and cat supplies, which we took care of that. The hood vent needs to be flush mount, so we tucked in a Miele ceiling mounted hood vent, or a flush to the ceiling hood vent. Wider walk space between the islands. So currently right now, this is only 36 inches. We were actually able to open it up to about 42 with some of the changes we made. And then even between the island and the sink was only 40, and we're actually able to open this up to 48, because they said every time they cook, they are always bumping into each other, and it just seems like there's not enough space And especially with this cabinet right here being where all of their pots and pans are, which we're going to move that. And the reason why they don't have their pots and pans under the cooktop right now is because there's a downdraft system right here, and it takes up the entire interior of the cabinet. This thing is ancient. And so we're going to eliminate all of that completely and give them so much more storage. So the person cooking literally does not move from this workstation unless they need access to the sink. But yeah, far more functional than what they have right now. So let's kind of take a look at what we have here. So what we did is, so remember how the fridge and freezer and appliance stack was on this wall? We actually moved it. So we moved it clear across to the other side of the kitchen. So we've got our speed oven here, our regular convection, a 24-inch Miele refrigerator, and a 24-inch Miele freezer. They're both going to be the Master Cool series. And then what we did on this back elevation is obviously we removed the drop, and we didn't fill the space with cabinets. We just opened it up. A little bit more negative space, feels a little bit more intentional. And so we've got a huge horizontal lift cabinet here, and then we have another one here, right? So they'll be able to access that. There'll be a few other, one other shelf in both of these actually. And this one is actually going to be 2 cabinets, and there's going to be a partition coming down the middle. So this is just our conceptual drawings right now. We definitely go into more mechanical details further into the process. So lifts here with automation, so they'll be able to push that door and it'll swing up. And then so this cabinet is currently in the current version of the kitchen. It's their pots and pans. We're going to remove the pots and pans from here completely. This is just additional storage now. This is a panel-ready dishwasher. This is a 48-inch sink, and the sink and tap are from the galley. So they'll get all these prep and serving accessories with the sink. And then we have our trash pull-out, and then we have a small additional storage for things like cookie sheets, tall things that are standing up, right? So you've got that. Obviously, you can also notice that we're doing our aluminum, our CP channel system here, so there's no handles in this kitchen. And then remember how we talked about they had a cat, and so they are currently storing their stuff in those tall bookshelf cabinets. Well, we're going to move all of those things down to these 2 drawer cabinets here, just kind of up and out of the way. And instead of increasing the cost by changing the window size to make this countertop flow all the way over, we played within the parameters of keeping the windows as they were, right? Because if we change the size of these windows, it's got a brick exterior on the house, and the house is older, and so it'd be a pretty substantial investment or additional cost on trying to fix the outside to get it to match. It's just money that, whatever the cost is, it's money that doesn't need to be spent, right? So we designed around it. And with them having cats, this could absolutely serve as, I know cats are temperamental and do their own thing, but it could serve as a place where the bowls go, right? Unless the cats are smacking them off the countertop, then we won't do that. Also, a small detail. So you'll notice that the main kitchen area is actually quite a bit deep, and I did this to, where are we at here? So this is 29.5 inches deep. So we had the room to pull it off. And so 29.5 inches deep, huge countertop. And so we just have this little design detail where this just pops out a little bit past this cabinet here. And then these go back to standard depth. But beautiful accent. Definitely just feels really intentional. And then, let's see, we'll spin around here to the island. So we have our 2 deep drawer cabinets here. So the cooktop is from Pick Cooking, and it doesn't take up that much space on the inside of the cabinet, maybe 2-3 inches. So this drawer is actually going to be pretty significant, and then this one down here at the bottom can hold quite a bit. and then this cabinet and this cabinet here. So it looks like a 2-drawer, but there's actually an internal rollout inside of the top drawer of each of these units, and it's actually clipped to the face. So when you open the top drawer, both the internal rollout and the middle drawer open at the same time. That's where you put your quick access items, right? So things that you use consistently, and then when you release the clip and push the internal rollout back in, then you have access to things that you may not use that often, right? And then obviously at the bottom, that bottom drawer, more deep drawer storage there. And then on the other side of the island, so we're just gonna do, it's kind of hard to see the detail here, but we're gonna do a glass doors on the back. We're gonna run LEDs in the back. We're gonna light this up. It's gonna be a beautiful display. They're gonna show off some of their nicer cookware. They're gonna show off some of their nicer cookbooks. This is just gonna be a beautiful display. And then my favorite part of this whole thing is our wine storage. So we put in a bar cabinet here. So that door will flip down. So they've got some extra storage for glasses. And then this is a wine fridge. So it holds a flight of wine. So when they're, again, they love to host, right? They love hosting events. So when they host the dinner, these 5 bottles will be chilled. And this would be the flight of wine that they're serving for dinner that evening. And then you also have additional storage here. And then we did more wine storage here, glass doors, and we're gonna essentially float these bottles on pegs. And yeah, and you'll notice a couple things. So one, the way the hinge system works on this wine fridge, it does have to protrude out a little bit, but the rest of the cabinets are gonna be finished flush to that wall. And so what we'll do is we'll open up these doors with 155 degree hinges. So that way they actually come out and away from the wall when you open them. I think 110s would be fine, but I always like to do a little bit more and do the 155 zero protrusion hinges just to be extra safe and give them that extra room. But yeah, that is the concept for this kitchen. So to go from that to this is going to be quite the transformation. Another thing really quick that I was playing with is the possibility of kind of adding some more traditional elements, because this house isn't a super modern home. So another idea I had was adding some more classic elements to this, right? And so doors, I'll change this to arc white. Okay. And so that would even tie in, like I would still keep the carcass the same color because it ties into the floors really well. But now you can add a little bit more of a classic feel. This feels more like of a true transitional kitchen. But more of a classic feel if they wanted to. And then the last thing you'll notice is the countertops here. So these are by Decton. They are 2 cm in thickness, and then we ran the backsplash all the way up to the lid on this back wall. So all in all, I love this kitchen. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more stuff like this, click that link and subscribe.